Hi, this is Gypsy, and as you can see, I'm at home and relaxing, and I'm about to have a straight talk with Wendy.
Straight talk with me, Wendy. I am here on the set of an amazing individual, my personal friend. He has a long track record. The journey is phenomenal. I'm here with none other than Mr. Winston Gypsy Peters. Winston, welcome to Straight Talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Wendy.
Well, I know you, Winston. I
Well,
know
call
Gypsy.
me. Call me Winston.
I know Mr. Peters.
Call
I
me
know...
Winston. Call me Gypsy. Call me. Just make sure you call me. But I'm fine. Good.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us on the set of Straight Talk with me. I want to talk to you about so many things.
Yes.
But tell me where you're from. I know you're from Mayaro.
I was born and raised in
Born
Mayaro.
and raised.
Born and raised in Mayaro. When I left Mayaro, I lived in Mayaro, I lived in Moruga, I lived in Guayguayari,
Okay.
I lived in Rio Claro, I lived in New York, I lived in the Virgin Islands, so I lived in Antigua. I'm an international liver. I lived in London, I live everywhere. I lived in Canada. I'm just a gypsy.
So you live all those places for 1 month because you're not looking that old.
Well, you know, I'm just about 70 years old, you know.
Seriously?
Yes, I'll be 70 years old in this October, and I feel very well.
You don't look it.
Well, thank you.
That's grace, favor, blessings, all the rest of it.
Thank you very much. I feel very well. I feel healthy, and
You look
most
it.
important.
So when did you start singing?
I started singing when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
At the village hall in Mayaro. A man named Mr. Shovington, God rest his soul, a wonderful man, looked at me and found I was such a brave little child. And of course, he was our friend, my grandparents' friend and everything.
Right.
And he took me to the village hall in Mayaro to sing my song.
You wrote it?
That I wrote myself at 4 years old, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And talk me through your journey from 4 years old to the 10s to presently in terms of Calypso.
Well, at 4 years old, after that, you know, I was there. I'm in Mayaro. I went to school. I went to all the schools in Mayaro, Rio Claro, and Guayguayari. I went to Mayaro, RC, Mayaro Government, St. Teresa, RC, Rio Claro. I went to Bastia, RC School in Moruga. I went to all the schools. I should be the brightest child in the world.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I wasn't.
But you sang during your school time?
All the time. I was never off the stage. Since I was 4 years old, I've been singing. I sang in everything that they had. I went to San Fernando. I lived in Coquille. I lived in Pleasantville. I'm a real gypsy, you know.
Literally?
Yeah.
So how did you get the sobriquet Gypsy?
Well, because I was a hyperactive child. I'm still a hyperactive man. I don't like to be one place too long.
Okay.
And that might be the reason for me living all these places.
Awesome.
I never like to be one place too long. I don't hang my hat on one nail for very long.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I was called, my grandparents didn't know about hyperactive and all that.
No.
Big name. So the name for that was Gypsy.
Wow.
And you real Gypsy, and there was a whole thing between me being called Gypsy and I had a dog named Gypsy.
Oh no.
So it was funny, you know, because sometimes they would call me. And no, not you, the dog, not the dog.
Oh,
you.
no.
yeah. No, it was funny, and sometimes we made fun of it. We made joke. Yeah, we made joke of it.
So you write all your music?
I wrote everything you ever heard me sing. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. There are 2 songs that I sang in my life that somebody else wrote.
Okay.
I sang a song called Madness is the Craze that a guy named Gat, I don't remember his last name now, but a guy named Gat wrote it. Apparently they put the music down in the studio and they couldn't find anybody to vocalize it. So the late Asquith Clark came to me and he asked me to please come and do this for him. I think they paid me $400 or $500 to sing it. So I sang that. And then Striker, the late Striker, Percy Oblington, who was a father figure to me.
Right.
He wrote a song called Miss Penny. And they didn't take him in the tent that he had to perform it. That's when Penny won the Calypso Monarch. Not the Calypso Monarch, I'm sorry. When she won Miss Universe.
Yes.
I'm so hooked on my Calypso.
Yes.
She won Miss Universe, so he wrote this song and they didn't take him in the tent, and the song was it was not a timeless but a timely song. So I had to ensure. So I told him I will sing that song for him, and I sang the song. I wrote it over actually. I put whatever I wanted in it, and I sang that song. It's the only 2 people song I ever sang in my life.
Wow.
Everything else I've ever sang, everything that I've ever sang, whether it's reggae music, country music, calypso music, I sing all those genres. I write them myself.
And your first stint in the tent?
My first stint in a calypso tent is in San Fernando, really. I started off with Lord Bryner's Southern Brigade. I am a South boy, still am a South boy.
Wonderful.
And then I moved into, in 1970, I think it was, Victory Calypso Tent. 1970, 71, Victory Calypso Tent. I started performing there with the Lord Blakey's tent. You know, Theodore Guerrero was my godfather.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to be associated with a lot of great people in my life. Theodore Guerrero was my godfather. He was a policeman, and of course he was the owner of Victory Calypso Tent, as I would later come to recognize. And so I was able to sing in the Victory Calypso Tent as my first tent in Port of Spain.
Wow.
But I was already singing in San Fernando.
So when did competition enter the arena?
Since I was a child, I won all the Calypso Monarch in Miaro, both junior and senior. I used to win the both of them because I used to sing better than the big men too.
Yes.
So I won the junior Calypso Monarch and the senior Calypso Monarch in Rio Claro. Then I went down to San Fernando. I won the San Fernando Calypso Monarch as well on more than one occasion.
Wow.
And then I come into Port of Spain and took a long time before I won the Calypso Monarch. But eventually, eventually I did. Yeah.
What made you write Little Black Boy?
I wrote Little Black Boy because of the circumstances of young black people in the country. When I look at what I call the deterioration of young black people and the misguided youth that we are having, and the misguidance that the youth depending on themselves for guidance. And once you do that, it takes you down a street where you wouldn't find any guidance that you really need, because at the end of the day, the blind can't lead the blind.
True.
And that's why I wrote Little Black Boy. I wrote Little Black Boy as a sense of trying to bring you back on the rail, as it were, to give you some kind of guidance and to help.
You got a lot of flack for that song.
I get flack by the way I speak. I get flack for the things I sing. But the world is a flacky world, you know. And I am not about to be bothered by that.
Right.
If that's what it is, then that's what it is. I would continue to say what I want to say, and I would continue to sing what I want to sing, as long as I believe that what I'm singing is my truth.
Chosen for such a time like this, ordained minister, corporate leader, motivational speaker, radio and television host, charismatic, engaging, edifying, and empowering. For all your hosting, moderating, and presenting needs, Wendy H. Lewis. For bookings, book Wendy now at gmail.com. Visit her website, www.wendyhlewis.com.
Trinidad and Tobago Corporate Training Academy is offering all its courses online. Yes, it's for your convenience. Courses include customer services, corporate protocol and etiquette, communications and emotional intelligence, Christian counseling workshop, leadership and governance, entrepreneurship, public speaking, and much more, with a host of qualified facilitators. For further inquiries, visit our website. Let all things be done decently and in order.
My perception of Little Black Boy is that it was timely.
Thank you.
I really believe that our little black boys needed a wake-up call.
Yes.
And somebody needed to say something.
Yes.
And one of the things that we don't do as a people is accept responsibility.
Well, and I agree with you. We hate to look in the mirror because
that's true.
That man in the mirror is a fella that
Yes.
you can't deal with. So you prefer to pass on everything to everybody. But the only how you would know that you need medication is to admit that you're sick.
True.
But if you're not admitting that you're sick,
Yeah.
then you would not need any medication. And every time people say something, you know, I've heard people say, I wrote Little Black Boy because I love black people, because I'm a black man.
Yeah.
But black people say I don't like black people.
Yeah.
So one time I even said, listen, you know what I will do? I said it on an interview openly so I could say it again. I said, okay, so the next time I write a song called Go and Take Drugs or Your Clung, just go ahead and take as much drugs as you want and go and shoot up yourself and go and rob black people's house. And I said that. Because if I could tell little black children, go to school and
Step up your
learn,
game.
be a maxi
Yes.
owner instead of a maxi tout, do things that are
Wow.
positive, then you hate me for that and say I say the wrong thing. So people don't like you when you say
Truth.
the truth.
Yeah.
I also wrote many songs for black people, many songs.
Yes.
I wrote Put Away Your Guns, Young Man. I wrote all kind of things. I wrote a lot of songs. I am a very black conscious person.
Yes.
I come from a black family. I'm an African descent. I'm a mixed race, of course. I'm Indian as well. But at the end of the day, I'm pronouncedly African.
Yeah.
And
agree.
And people have to understand that. And pride in place is a dangerous thing. When I look in this country and I see the deterioration of the black people, there's a deterioration of black people. Black people are the lowest rung of the ladder in everything. Yes, you have black people that are in government. But government are what? Government are puppeteered by economics. And government, who control the economy of a country,
Yes.
they control your country. So the government could be whoever they want, and you don't control the purse string of your country. You don't control anything.
Agreed.
When you look at all the businesses in this country, you look at the agricultural sector in this country, you look at the manufacturing sector in this country, you look at the construction sector in this country, you look at the road paving sector in this country.
Wow.
I mean, African doesn't even figure in it. Yes, they figure as work people,
Yes.
people who go there to work. When you look at CPEP, there is where you'll find a lot of black people. When
That's
you
the
look at
truth.
URP, how can I be a black man and feel proud about that? How can I, and as a songwriter and a singer who has a captivated audience that you can sit and you can tell things through your
Yeah.
work, how can I just use triviality instead of doing something that is substantive to see if I could help to help my people to come out of the quagmire that we have found ourselves in? And I do believe it is because of things like Little Black Boy. You have to start with the bottom.
Yeah.
You understand? Because you don't see a big tree growing down. You see a little tree going
Going
up.
up.
And it's until it grow up, then it bear the fruits that it's going to bear. And when you look at little black people and the thing that they do, you know that they're on the wrong track. Tell them they're on the wrong track.
Tell them the
so
truth.
that you can, it is, forget which one of them that say it is better to raise strong men than to try to fix broken ones.
True. Agreed.
Fix young boys, raise great young boys than to try to fix broken men.
This is the truth. I mean, even with the CPEP and the URP, it is supposed to be a stepping stone. It's not supposed to be something you hug up and do year in, year out.
But unfortunately, we have found ourselves in a quagmire. So we have found ourselves dependent on the government.
Yes.
And when we have found ourselves dependent on government for everything that you need, then that's what the government have to offer. And if you are most dependent on the government or any entity for anything, that's what that entity is going to have to deliver to you.
True.
But when you go and you lift yourself up by your own bootstrap,
Yes.
you are lifting yourself up. You're not dependent on anybody. Having said that, everybody in the world is dependent on somebody. Nobody have succeeded by themselves.
True.
Nobody in the world
Yeah.
can succeed by themselves. You have to have something along the way. But you cannot be a leech You cannot be leachical. You cannot
Yeah.
latch on to something that's just there, you know, just because it's there.
Yeah.
You alone, can't you see you alone latching on to that?
Yeah.
The other people are finding other ways to go around and do whatever else they
Yeah.
have to do. Some of them might be there, but they are not there, like you said, for forever. They are there to make their way. I used to be a crab catcher. I used to be a bottle collector. I pick up coconut, I crack coconut and dig out coconut and sell as a little boy. But I know that there was more to life than that. God gave me a talent to write and sing songs, and I understand that there's a future in doing that. Even my parents couldn't understand that.
Right.
I was castigated by my own parents for singing calypso and stuff. But at the end of the day, I, as a right-thinking person and I growing into adulthood, I recognizing that this could be much more than what they are making it out to be.
Yes.
So I hitched my horses on that cart,
Wow.
and I went along with it. And I think that people have to discern you cannot think that you can do these things, these
Forever.
menial things forever, and become whatever. You use what you have. Even grown people have to do that. Even
Yes.
successful people
That's
have to
right.
do that. Even in my business as a singer, you have to do that. Use what you're making today and let it work for you tomorrow.
And what do you think they need to break that dependency syndrome?
They need more people like me who are outspoken and who will tell them that a rod is a rod, a chain is a chain, and they are not the same thing. They're different. And they can work in different ways for you. You need people to be outspoken and tell them that. And tell our people that. Try to teach them that. And don't be afraid of who you are, and say who you are, and try to tell people. You understand? Try to tell your people. Because we don't have many outlets. They have a lot of other ethnic races in Trinidad and Tobago who have their own space where they can teach their children. Trinidad and Tobago have something, say there's something about child labor. But what is child labor? You see all these Indian people who have business and the little children working in the business. You see all kind of Syrian people and the little children working in their
Yes.
businesses.
Crewmen.
And they go to school when they finish. When we were children in Mayaro, I used to go to school, and when I finished, I had to go and pick okra, and I had to do all of these things. That's not child labor. That's showing me independence.
Yes.
But now, we don't do that because we take it on. We don't want my child to be that, and me want my child to be this. Yeah, but your child grew up to be a bandit and you don't say nothing.
Yeah.
And your child grew up to be a drug man and you don't say nothing. And until the table turns on him,
Yes.
and something start to go wrong with your child, and you're by the courthouse crying.
And what you just described is the seed of entrepreneurship.
Of course, that's what it is. That's what you have to sow. And it cannot be that it works for other people and can't work for
you.
us.
Yes.
Why it could work for other people and it can't work for us?
Mindset.
It can work for us because it used to work for us. I remember as a boy in San Fernando, black people had a lot of businesses on High Street.
Yeah.
I remember some of their names good, Rogers and Hinkles and a whole lot of.
Street was
and
owned by
of
black
course,
people, yes.
and when you go down there now, all the names have changed into basically Indian names, even funeral homes and what have you. These were all domains that black people had. People believe that agriculture in this country start with Indian people. No, it didn't. African people, African descendants were the agriculturists in Trinidad and Tobago, but that became so menial to us now that our children don't want to do that. You know, when you look at the doctors, listen, we have lost in every sense of the word, every single sense. We don't have as many doctors and lawyers as we think we have and as we used to have. If we have, they are not as prominent as they used to be.
Wow.
Long time when you hear the name Hudson and Guerin and,
Yes.
and what have you, you don't hear these things anymore. They are they're replaced by Lal and Babu Lal and Ramjit and what have you, and they rightly so. When
Yes.
people work for things, they must get it.
Must.
So all I do with my songs is try to tell people
Truth.
what you must do. Try to tell them the truth. In one of my songs, I say, you have to teach the youths the truth. You have to teach the youths the truth. Because if we don't teach them, we are going to lose them. And this is what I write. These are the songs that I write. My songs are not for me. I have it in me already. I am bringing it out. I'm bringing it out with my talent.
So you're writing it.
So I write it and I put it out there so that people can listen to it and try to learn from it. Whenever I have an opportunity, I go and I talk to as many of them as I can. I talk to people in the jails in America. I did some here. I try my best. Too many of us. I have a song called Too Many.
Yes.
So I write these songs. I write these songs not for me. I don't write them for me, but Trinidad have a way of my people, black people have a way of not listening to what you're saying. Yes.
Our people.
Yes. And then they have a way of saying, I say black people, so you know what is going to happen out of this, what I just said there?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to call your program and say that you're painting everybody with the same brush, because in Lavantil have doctors and it have lawyers who come from there.
I think we don't have in Trinidad and Tobago mature listeners.
Well, I don't know.
They listen to
we don't
react.
have objective listeners.
Correct.
They are not objective because you're listening. Yes, we have
to
doctors.
criticize.
Of course, black people have black people who are doctors.
We
Of
have black
course, we have black
millionaires.
people who are lawyers.
Yes.
Of course, we have black millionaires.
However,
how many?
we are in the minority.
And where are they?
And we must accept truth.
And we came from a majority to a minority.
When did it
How
change?
did we get there?
Yes.
And how do we get out of it?
What is your response to
Little
that?
black boy,
Yes.
go to school and learn. Little black boy, show some concern. Little black boy, education is the key to get you off the streets and off poverty. That's what you have to do. And let me tell you, people mix up education with certification, you know.
Wow.
To be certified don't mean that you're educated, you
True.
know. You can be educated. Most of the people in the world who are multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires are educated. They are not certified.
Correct.
So we mix up certification with education. And that's a thing that we have to be careful with as well. All them little fellas you see with all them mansion and driving Rolls Royces and stuff in Trinidad, who work all about, some of them hardly went to 6th standard. Even in this time that we live in here. But they are educated.
Wow.
I could show you a person who couldn't read and write that was one of the most educated person in this country. A fella named Brigo. Brigo was one of the most educated person in Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
But people never understood his education because they don't know what education means. They think education means that I have a degree in engineering or I have a degree in, or I'm a geologist, so what have you. They think that that's education.
Wow.
That's not necessarily
this is
education.
an awesome
That's
conversation.
certification.
Yes.
That's
so we're going to take a break.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
The Trinidad and Tobago Corporate Training Academy is hosting a 2-day workshop on corporate protocol and etiquette. Get registered now. Calling all administrative staff, managers, and leaders. Visit our website at www.thecorporatetrainingacademy.com to request the course outline and further information. Protocol is what we do, and etiquette is how we do it. Let's get it right.
Chosen for such a time like this. Ordained minister, corporate leader, motivational speaker, radio and television host, charismatic, engaging, edifying, and empowering. For all your hosting, moderating, and presenting needs, Wendy H. Lewis. For bookings, book Wendy now at gmail.com. Visit her website www.wendyhlewis.com.
Welcome back to Straight Talk with Wendy, and I have my very good friend Winston Gypsy Peters. Before the break, we were talking about entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And some of the areas where our little black boys can do better.
Of course.
You did not just sing those things. You didn't just say it for saying it sake. You are a budding entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of the things that you're doing, especially with agriculture.
Well, I've always been an agriculturist. I grew up in Mayara as an agriculturist. My grandparents and my uncle, who I live with right where I live now in Cascado, I grew up in there with my uncle as well. And my uncle used to plant watermelon and cucumber and okra, which I hate to pick still. Because when you pick okra, when you try to go to sleep in the night in those days, we had no big time shower and stuff. and that cold water you had to bathe with, and by the time you finish that thing just stick you to death.
Wow.
And so I grew up doing that, and when I lived in America, I plant corn.
Really?
Yes, my wife and I, we plant corn. I had 165 acres of corn.
Wow.
So we plant corn in New Jersey, and those are the things. So I'm back in Trinidad, and I'm right back where I started from. I came here, I got some land here and there, and I bought it and do whatever I have to do. So right now I'm a watermelon planter. I'm a soursop planter. I have a lot of things. I mine tilapia, I rear tilapia. I do a whole lot of what you call it. I have sapodilla. I have some citrus. So I do a whole lot of things, you know.
This is in Mayaro.
Yes, in Mayaro.
So
in Mayaro.
I'm a
Mayaro. You can come. You can come. You can come. Feel free. Feel free. I mean, you can come by me anytime. You're my friend.
We took a break and we took a flight and we end up in the beautiful city of Mayaro. So we are here. This is like 30 acres of land, people. From all the way down by the beach, straight down to that end. But what has fascinated me is the process of watermelons. Now, there's a lot I did not know, but I understand the process. So tell me what the process is. The process,
well,
how you plant watermelon?
Watermelon is planted the process is tedious, I must say. Okay?
Yes.
And I have been involved in planting watermelon agriculture since I was born, actually, because I was born into agriculture here in Mayaro and fishing.
Right.
When you plant in watermelon, first of all, watermelon basically like flat land. It likes sand, sandy mixed land. That's why Mayaro have so much watermelon.
Okay.
And first you prepare the land. You cut it down if you have plenty trees and you really want to do it. You clean it like, oh, you see everything here. There's nothing here.
Yeah, it's very uniform.
It's just clear. It's clean land, and then you plow it, and then you rotate it. You make beds, big beds, because watermelon grow on beds. And you have drains on both sides. For obvious reason, watermelon, even though it's called watermelon, it doesn't like to be saturated in water.
Okay.
So you have to make sure the drainage and everything is right for it. And you plant your watermelon, and it takes a lot of care, really, really care. You have to care for watermelon in terms of, you have to make sure it's clean, you have to make sure it's fertilized, you have to make sure it's watered. Yes, in dry season you have to water it still. But not saturated in water. It doesn't like that. Right. But it likes to be wet. You have to wet it. It likes to drink water, but not to bathe.
Right. Gotcha.
So you put that, and that's how it is, and you continue to do that, and then watermelon take anywhere to come to maturity, anywhere from 90 days, you know, just about 90, kind of 3 months.
But you all will get a view. You all will get a view because we can see pockets, we can see watermelon in between.
Yes.
But what something that fascinated me the most is the size of the watermelon. Listen, I tried to pick up one just now. It didn't quite work out too well.
Some of these melon that I have here right this minute are like 45 pounds, close to 50 pounds. So yes, some of them are.
Never underestimate or have a query with the price of watermelon ever again. Pay your money because there's a lot going into the process.
Plenty.
So this is, what you said earlier is that this is just a little bit of watermelon.
It's just a little bit of watermelon. We have plenty on the ground, but it's just a little bit, and this will be gone in about a day or so. The vendors are going to come, and they're going to just go with all of this. And then we want a lot more. We consume a lot of melon in Trinidad, and of course we do in fact.
It's a hot country, we need
and
water-based
more than that,
fruit,
we export some out of the country, and watermelon is a healthy fruit.
Yes, it is.
It has a lot of health values.
Yep.
If you read it up, you're going to see. So it's a healthy fruit, and I think we consume a lot of it in Trinidad, thankfully so.
Awesome.
We still we just don't do a lot of fast food alone.
Well,
we do consume a lot of fruits and stuff, especially us here in this part of the country.
So that's great. So you got a little snippet from Mayaro in the watermelon factory. 30 acres. Wow. We'll be right back.
So I work hard. I work every single day when I'm not doing my cultural duty or whatever I have to do. I continue to work, and the thing about a lot of artists that I have to tell them, I try to teach them, whatever you make today, you have to make it work for you for tomorrow.
That's right.
Because today you are making millions of dollars, but tomorrow there will come a time when your money earning power would be no more. And it is what you do with the money that you make at a particular point in time that would help you along for the rest of your life. Because in this business that we are in here, you have to create your own gratuity, you have to create your own pension,
Yes.
you have to create whatever else, because in Trinidad we don't have no artist benevolence and all of that, you know.
True.
Even though I, having lived in America all this time, I am part of the artistic benevolence in New York.
Right.
So I would still have a little thing to get if something should happen, but we don't have that in Trinidad, and nobody is seeking to do it, because artists in Trinidad don't like to pay for
Yes.
anything. They will get money and they wouldn't want to.
Mismanagement.
They wouldn't want to put it into a little thing for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So these are the things that we have to learn, and not because you're an artist today and a big artist today mean you'll be an artist
That's
all
true.
all your life. There are artists that we used to hear about and we heard about them for a long time. They're still alive. They're somewhere there, but you wouldn't hear about them again because their money earning power and their popularity have dwindled. I can't say that I used to be as popular as I'm as popular as I used to be. You know, plenty people know me. They know my name. They know whatever it is. But this, it is not the same.
Right.
So I have to live on what I did. You understand? I have to live on what I did, and that's what the artistic fraternity in
It's
Trinidad
lacking.
and Tobago need to know. There are some of us who became very successful, and I hope that we hold on to it. I've seen some of us squander our success. I've seen it in my own lifetime. I've seen it, but we have to, and the younger ones now have to know that times are going to get harder for them. Because this is one of the most competitive thing that you can ever get into. And you have, if God grant you the luck and you have the wisdom to do what you have to do with whatever little you make, it can help you in time to come.
I agree, but I believe also that is why so many artists, Calypsonian, soca artists, have felt sick during the pandemic. Because they held on to this one thing, they don't believe in multiple streams of income. Your gift's supposed to make room for you.
That's why God gave you the gift.
Exactly.
That's why you have it. That's
1
exactly why you
year,
have it.
2 years of a pandemic, and the majority of them dead broke. And depending on the government,
Yes, yes,
depending on
yes,
something
yes,
else.
yes,
So entrepreneurship
yes.
has definitely worked for you.
Yes.
They're not listening, but
And I
you're a
love,
successful
I
businessman.
love, yes, I am pretty successful. I mean, like every other businessman, I have my struggles. The pandemic wasn't kind to all of us.
Right.
I mean, the pandemic was very unkind to a lot of people in the whole world. We are not unique in that way.
Yes.
But we have to weather it, and you have to go again and do whatever you have to do again, you know. When I tell people I plant watermelon, Gypsy, you planting watermelon, because they don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand that planting watermelon and planting
It's short-sightedness.
and doing whatever it is you have to do can do for you. So that's what I do.
So we heard from Gypsy the Calypsonian.
Yeah,
I heard from Winston the entrepreneur.
yeah.
How did you end up in politics?
I've always had a political ambition as well, because you know the thing about it is that once you're alive, you are into politics
I guess so.
in one way or the
Or
other.
the other.
It depends on how far you're willing to go. Let me tell you from the onset, Jack Warner, Basdeo Pandey, and a man named Manohar Ramsaran,
Wow, yes.
who got me involved in politics in this way that I am in here. I was sitting in my gallery in New York, and I got a phone call. I got a phone call from Jack Warner.
Uncle Jack.
Yes. In my case, it's cousin Jack.
Right, okay.
Yes. So I got a phone call from Jack Warner saying, Gypsy, you know, I want you to go for politics in Miaro. So I say, wait a minute, you know, because how he is, yes. So I say, listen, I have political ambitions. My political ambition is just to help and to see how I could do things to
Serve,
to
yes.
help and where I was from. That was my political ambition, to try to work out with whatever I could do to help me Arrow. And when he told me that, I said, well, I wasn't quite sure if I was prepared for it then, because I had a lot of contracts to perform here and there and wherever. Still, I was still at the height of whatever I'm doing. So I said, this is something I had to talk to my wife about, even though she was there. So I said, well, I have to talk to my wife about it, and I will get back to you. So
Right.
you see, I had to hurry up and do it with her. So I spoke to her, And she said, you always talk about getting into politics, and if that's what you want you to do, if that's what they're asking you to do, and you want to do it, then by all means, go ahead. So then I call him back maybe the next day or something after talking to her, and she tell me yes and whatever. And I said, all right, so I do it, and then I flew down to Trinidad, and we talked some more, and then the rest is history and where I am now.
So let me ask you a question about that. Did politics in terms of party ever come into play, in terms of, do I want to go with Uncle Jack? What about the PNM? What about the UNC? How am I perceived
let me
in the
tell you
area?
the truth. Let me tell you the total truth about me and PNM. I did not like Dr. Eric William.
Okay.
A lot of people may not like to hear me say this, but the reason why I did not like Dr. Eric William in the 1970s, I get to dislike him, because I find that Dr. Eric William was not doing enough for young black people. I find that when young black people started to revolt, when they find themselves in a certain space, and they find that that space was leading them down a certain road, and they started to revolt in a certain way. And I don't think that Dr. Eric William did enough for them, even though I believe that he could have.
Okay.
Instead of that, I think he soaked the powers that be, Burroughs and all of them, to kill out all them young university fellas, jail Dagger and them, and do things like that. And I believe that he could have done more. So that is when I got to dislike the PNM. I was born into a PNM family, and I had nothing against PNM in the PNM sense of the whole thing. But I got to dislike Dr. Eric William, because remember that I live in America, and then you live in America with all this black power thing was still in a certain way, and then instead of Trinidad and Dr. Eric William as a black person with a black government, as far as I understood it to be, wasn't doing sufficient to show black people a different way. Okay. Instead of that, I think that what was brought to bear on them was the heavy hand of the law, and kill them and do whatever it is, and call them gorillas, and not seeing through the fact that these people really looking for a way out, and a better way out, and a better way out for young black people. So I got to dislike the PNM at that point in time. I got to dislike Eric William, and by extension, not wanting to have anything to do with the PNM.
Okay.
That's why I wrote The Sinking Ship. That's exactly why I wrote The Sinking Ship. But it don't mean at that time that I hated everybody in the PNM.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I could divulge something to you now, that many years ago, I told Keith, who is now Dr. Keith Rowley, who is now Dr. Keith Rowley and the PNM leader and the Prime Minister of our country, proudly so. I'm proud of him. And I told him years ago that the day you become the leader of the PNM, I will become a PNM.
Wow.
You will never believe that. I planned my life. I told him the day that you become the PNM, and he is there today, he can tell you that I said that. I said the day that you become the leader. I love him. I make no bones about it. He's my friend of mine, and I love Keith, because Keith is a very outspoken, outright kind of human being, and I like outspoken and outright human being. You know where you stand with them. There's no hypocrisy.
You know where you stand with them.
And I like that. So I'm not saying that because he's Prime Minister now and I'm supporting PNM. I tell you, many years ago, even when I was with the UNC, I said to Keith, before that, I said to him, the day that you become the leader of the PNM, I would become a PNM. And I am a PNM.
So how did you transition from Uncle Jack to UNC?
Well, you have seen what went on in the UNC. I think that the UNC just use black people to get which part they want to get, and when they get there, they start using black people. They start doing it in a whole different way. They sideline black people, and I could not be bothered with that. You understand what I'm saying? I could not be bothered with that, because like I tell you, I'm a proud black man, you know. I have nothing racial or racist or anything like that in me, but I'm proud of who I am, and I know who I am. And the thing about it, that a lot of people say a lot of things about the UNC didn't matter to me at the time. I wasn't seeing no race in anything. I believe that the UNC was better at that point in time, because that's what I was seeing. And then I also start to see when they start to just use black people to get which part they want to go, and after they get there, they start to marginalize the black people who are in their party. I look at it with everybody. Vona St. Rose, Jack Warner, a whole lot of black people. I just look at it. I just look at how the discarding, if you may, of all of that. And all of that helped me to make my own decisions.
Wow.
And I'm not sorry for any decision that I make. You know, that's my decision. That's my truth. And my truth is what I have to live with.
One of the things you said that's very key, that stood out for me, is you plan your life.
I did plan my life.
But people don't plan. They just live vicariously today for today, which explains why you're so successful right now. So we had the Uncle Jack, we had the UNC, we had the PNM, and you are now the chair
of the NCC.
Of the NCC.
Yeah.
Pandemic, carnival.
Yeah.
Everybody have an opinion. How much money? Who shouldn't get?
Yeah.
A lot of people have accused you of being biased and conflict of interest where your performance was concerned for the Demarshwa. Do you think you should have stepped out of the performance as the chair, or why did you see the benefit of performing although you're the chair?
Why should I have stepped out? They hired me at the NCC as Gypsy, the Calypsonian. They hired me at NCC. They are two separate things.
But the NCC hiring you as a chair
It wasn't the NCC who hired me as a chair. The government did it. The government, Keith Rowley's a geologist, you know.
Yes.
But they hired him as the Prime Minister of the country. So you mean that if we have a geological problem in Trinidad and Tobago now,
because he's the Prime Minister,
because he's the Prime Minister, don't call him?
Yeah.
That would be nonsensical.
Yeah.
If he is the one with the knowledge and he's the one who can do it, why not call him? Those are the things that keeps our country down. Because we look at politics and put politics into everything. I am one of the best Calypsonians in Trinidad and Tobago, if I may say so myself.
Yes.
And I know who I am. I already, look, they called me up to just now, a couple of minutes ago, they called me to do a next show in Florida and the next one in Grenada. The only reason why they called me to do that is because
you're good at your craft.
I'm good at my craft.
Yes.
I'm almost 70 years old and still continue to do what I do and do it well. I know exactly what I do. So, if you're hiring good Calypsonians to sing in the savannah, I didn't hire myself. Tuco is responsible for all of that. And I see no conflict of interest there. I have been to the savannah on more than 20 occasions in terms of being in the finals, long before I get into this. So are you saying that if I have to go to the final now, I shouldn't go? This is a rhetorical question, really. I'm not asking you for an answer. I'm just saying that this is what I do as a job. I'm a performer, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter. This is what I've been doing since I'm 4 years old.
Yeah.
You understand? Anything else is peripheral.
One of the things I said, this is my personal view, I said he didn't hire himself. And
NCC doesn't hold any financial rewards for me in terms of getting me by or anything like that. You get a stipend from NCC, a stipend you get. So I don't understand what they're talking about. Singing is my job. And any time they pick me to go in the savannah or anywhere else they pick me to go, I'm going to go.
You're going.
Because that's what I do as a job. That's what I've been doing all my life. But I'm competent. I have other competencies. And my other competencies come into play in terms of what I do at the NCC. So they hire me to do that. Just like they hire me to lecture on Calypso and stuff somewhere, or they hire me to go in the prison and speak to prisoners and stuff, because I have the competence to do that as well. So they hire me to do that. So what is the problem? Where does this conflict of interest come in? A conflict of interest would come if I'm not a good Calypsonian, if I was not a Calypsonian at all, and because I'm the chairman of the NCC, they picked me to go and sing up in the savannah or something. I've been doing that long before I become that. So I don't take on those things.
I liked how you explained it, because sometimes a lot of people jump on a bandwagon.
Yes.
They jump on a bandwagon and they have these discussions and they infiltrate the young minds as well. Yeah. But I like the way that you separated and you explained the hiring process, etc.
Of course, I'm a Calypsonian. I told them, listen, even when I get into politics, I made sure that on all my official cards, that's why my name is Winston Gypsy Peters. That is the transportation I use to get to anywhere that I am. Calypso took me to anywhere. My profession, I dropped out of university, you know. I drop out of university because I find that I personally, and when I talk to children, I tell them they shouldn't do the same thing as me,
Right.
because everybody don't have a talent as me.
True.
But I find that me going to university was wasting my time. No, I'm serious.
Yes.
Because the time when I was going, we had no computer where you could have gone on the computer and do your work then. It was encumbering me from doing what I want to do. So I drop out. But, but the thing about it, I still do what I want to do and accomplish what I want to do. Like I tell people all the time, I'm educated. I'm an educated person. I never look for certification because I dropped out of university. I didn't want to be certified with anything. But I'm educated, so I could do anything. My competencies, some people tell me, but Gypsy, you don't talk like a Calypsonian. How does a Calypsonian talk?
Yeah.
And how is a Calypsonian supposed to talk? Like if he's a fool? So I am not a fool. And I make sure that everybody know I'm not a fool. Yeah. And my competencies goes way beyond just singing a calypso.
Agreed.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm an entertainer.
Yes.
And I think that I'm a pretty good entertainer because I'm well paid for my entertainment all over the world. I've traveled to just about
almost everywhere.
in this world, places that people only dream about going. I've been there, and the only thing that takes me there is my calypso. I'm a Calypsonian. Just like how Kamala is a lawyer, Keith is a geologist, and Pandy and them is lawyers. I, Winston Peters, I'm a Calypsonian. And calypso is just like how whatever they do get them there wherever they get, calypso is what took me to everything else that I have to do. That's the transportation I use.
One of the things that has always impressed me, even as a little girl we were sharing offset, is your image, your presentation. To the point where there are times people haven't heard a word you've sung, but they could tell you the suit and the color and the shoes.
Yeah.
How important is image for entertainers? Do you think that current entertainers don't have the rounded package? You need to be able to sing, be able to write, dress a particular way, speak a particular way, communicate, market yourself. I think a lot of the Calypsonians lack the full rounded package.
Well, time has changed, and a lot of these young people believe that they have shaped the world to whatever they want to be, and a lot of them would not even be successful as Calypsonian because like everything have a personality. You have to have a certain personality to fit there. When you look at rappers, they dress a certain way. They have some big dog chain around the neck and what have you. That is their persona. That's how they present whatever they do.
Right.
The Calypsonian is different. The Calypsonian is a fella who, through tradition, have always been a dressed up person and dress a certain way to perform. And that is what makes the Calypsonian identifiable as a Calypsonian. Just like when you see a rapper, he identifies as whatever it is. But nowadays you see Calypsonian, they want to just like Beyonce, or they want him to be like Rihanna, or whoever it is, because they are trying to be a certain, because that's what they see. But that is their success. That is their way of succeeding. That's their way of dressing for success. My way of dressing for success is a different way because I'm in a different genre of music.
Right.
And that is what you dress to suit whatever genre you're in. But to each his own.
To each his own.
To each his own.
Because I am days of you,
whatever make you successful, whatever makes you happy, and you believe that is what you're going to succeed with, for crying out loud, go ahead and do it.
But you just explained and showed Trinidad and Tobago and the wider listening public what Calypso did for you. But yet we still have so many Calypsonians complaining, not making it, not being picked, not being selected. What would you say are the key complements of a good Calypso?
Well, I don't know how to explain that. I think a good Calypso it takes on many different forms. It depends on your subject matter and how you handle your subject matter.
Right.
If you want to sing about a bottle, you must explain the bottle properly.
Right.
Because Calypso is all about lyrics.
Yes.
Those other type of music, soca music and stuff, is about the music, I guess, and a word or two.
A word or two.
Calypso is about a construction of words that is complemented by the proper musical accompaniment. Like most of the time you hear a Calypsonian singing a lamentation song, he would use a minor key. La da de, la da de da 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 da, la da de da 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 do, because it connotates a certain kind of emotion in the person that you are disseminating these lyrical, content, and to put them in a kind of mood so they'll understand what you're saying. So a good calypso, to me, is one that explains properly your subject matter.
Right.
And that to me is a good calypso.
And do you think we obviously have an advantage because you write?
Yeah.
So a lot of the other, some Calypsonians, they do not write. So they depend on writers. And then when they're choosing the song, they don't choose a song that they can share the story well enough. So sometimes they get a song from a writer that doesn't even suit them. So they find difficulties in emphasizing and portraying. So we have Calypsonians that will ask specifically. So even when I remember when I used to sing, well, you don't ever stop singing, Tobago Crusoe said to me, what do you want to sing about?
Yeah. Well, that is why Calypsonians of yesterday used to have an identity, because they wrote their own songs.
Right.
And it was identifiable with them.
Yes.
Nowadays, when you hear Calypsonians singing, what the Calypsonians that we have now, who writers write for, unless they have one writer, then you would find them identifying in a certain way with that style of writing from that writer. But apart from that, when you get a song from this one, that one, the other one, you just sing. So you have no identifiable traits. You understand?
Right.
And that's the difference in a Calypsonian of yesterday. That's why Pretender, they used to say, in order to be a real Calypsonian, you have to write and sing your own songs. Well, I don't know if I totally agree with that. I mean, there are singers and there are songwriters and what have you, but you don't have an identity.
And I think
as you hear my music, you will know it's mine, because I write them.
Because there's a difference for me, this is just my take on it, that you can buy a song or you can have a writer write a song for you.
Yes, you can do that, and there are writers who would understand your style.
Correct.
And write a song for you. Or you can hear a song and because of whatever it's saying, you just buy it.
And then even if you're a writer, you'll be able to adjust to your personality and all the rest of it.
Yes.
So I think that's one of the disadvantages we have with Calypsonians today.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a next break. We'll be right back.
The Trinidad and Tobago Corporate Training Academy is hosting a 2-day workshop on corporate protocol and etiquette. Get registered now. Calling all administrative staff, managers, and leaders. Visit our website at www.thecorporatetrainingacademy.com to request the course outline and further information. Protocol is what we do, and etiquette is how we do it. Let's get it right.
Chosen for such a time like this. Ordained minister, corporate leader, motivational speaker, radio and television host, charismatic, engaging, edifying, and empowering. For all your hosting, moderating, and presenting needs, Wendy H. Lewis. For bookings, book Wendy now at gmail.com. Visit her website, www.wendyhlewis.com.
We are back with my good friend Winston. I want to call him Winston because he's my friend.
Yes.
We're getting ready to wind up. We spoke about Calypso in terms of the entertainment industry as a whole. But as the chair of NCC, our culture is technically in your hands. In your hands. What's next for Trinidad and Tobago coming out of a pandemic situation?
Yes. Well, we have what you have seen what we did in a pandemic situation.
Yes.
We gave the world and our country more than anything else a taste
of carnival. Was a good taste.
That was well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, because
taste.
you know, it matters not what you do. There are persons who would always not like it.
You can't please
and I'm
everybody.
cool with that.
Yes.
I am cool with that. I'm cool with that. I have never I wrote a song about that. I wrote a song about that as well, you know. You can't, I just sang one the other day in a different way as well.
Wow.
Called The Way of the World.
Yes.
Right. So
One of my favorites.
Thank you. You can't please everybody. But at the end of the day, you must try to please as many persons as you can.
Yes.
You know, and if you can please the majority, then that's good, which is what we try to do with A Taste of Carnival. We did the best that we can. If we had more money, we may have done more things and hire more people and have more, you know, artistry going on inside of there. But we worked well with what we had. Now we have switched our thoughts and our mind and our beings into Carnival 2023. Because we do believe with the trajectory of the pandemic as it is here now in the world, in 2023 we are going to be able to have a carnival. We are going to be able to have a full
three-course meal.
carnival. So we are in the mode now where we are actually planning our advertisement. We are planning to our participation in outside carnivals, because there are other places in the world that having their carnival. So we are planning, we always do, we try our best to participate and advertise, because you know, long time when we alone or fourth carnival in the world, we could have said, well, Trinidad and Tobago is the greatest show on earth, and not tell anybody and not do anything. But you could have the best product in your world, in this time, and you don't market yourself, you don't market your product, then you would not be competitive.
Right.
The competition going to go and leave you right there. So we are planning our marketing strategy now, where we go in, where we're going to take it, how we're going to take it, which ones we are going to feel more comfortable participating in terms of advertising our carnival. We are also working on Tobago Carnival.
I was about to mention
in Tobago's Carnival in October. This week coming here, we are going to be having some meetings with the Tobago House of Assembly. I'm so happy that my more than 30 years of work is coming to fruition, because I have been working on having this Tobago Carnival for the last 30-something years. Yes.
So you were in agreement with Trinidad having its own
separate carnival, 100 billion trillion %. It makes no sense having Tobago Carnival along with Trinidad Carnival. The people come from all over the world to come to Trinidad Carnival. People from Tobago they're going to do the same. Because this is the Mecca of Carnival, by the way. Trinidad, well, I want to say Trinidad and Tobago, but this is Trinidad and Tobago. This is the Mecca of Carnival. And when you look at little places like St. Kitts and Nevis, you could put two of them in Tobago and they will fit.
Right.
They having a separate carnival. Carnival is no longer about wine and jam and just to gyrate down the place. That's what we do, to put on a show for people to come.
Right.
But at the end of the day, carnival is an economic stimulus. Carnival stimulates our economy in a way that nothing else can, because carnival brings in the most money in the shortest period of time in this country. And a lot of people, we are also going on an education drive, because a lot of people not understanding the benefits of carnival to our country, and they bad talk it and malign it without knowing that carnival is helping them maybe to be able to talk on the said phone that they're talking on to malign the carnival. Carnival is helping them to talk on that same phone. So they don't even understand. So we had our first meeting after the Taste of Carnival on Tuesday. So so now we are going on Monday, So now we are going, that's our planning. We are going and plan a little more and then execute our plans.
So would Tobago get a taste, or Tobago get
No, Tobago gonna get a full carnival. That's Tobago first carnival, and we want to be big. So that's why I'm going to speak to the Tobago House of Assembly.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we are involved in all carnival. They just called me a while ago to be in Grenada Carnival as well, because they have
a good carnival.
So we are going, of course, and all those carnival, they are predicated on the whole scenario from Trinidad and Tobago's carnival. Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful.